a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships. And what they've been doing is improperly representing me, improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part. See, I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything. What I learned how to do was go out, work hard, get paid, come home, pay my bills, take care of my family. That part. The legal side, when you hire attorneys and managers and agents, they're supposed to make sure the gray area over there that they're in the driver's seat for.
Jaguar Wright is once again making headlines, and this time, she's diving headfirst into the tragic and highly suspicious death of R&B legend Angie Stone. After years of being blackballed and pushed to the margins of the music industry, Angie's sudden passing has left many questioning whether this was truly an accident or something far more sinister. The timing, the circumstances, and the eerie similarities to other artists who've spoken out against the industry, it all seems too convenient. Jaguar, never one to hold back, has openly expressed her belief that Angie Stone's death wasn't just a tragic accident, but a calculated move to silence her. What makes this even more chilling is that Angie had been calling out the same industry figures for decades and had only recently exposed Universal Music Group for allegedly stealing her royalties. And just weeks later, she was gone. Angie had been riding in the back of a van on her way to Atlanta when it overturned on the highway, only to be struck by an 18-wheeler moments later. Everyone else in the van survived, yet Angie was the only fatality. At first glance, it seems like a tragic road accident, but the details surrounding it are starting to raise red flags. A witness who had been at the scene described a chaotic moment right after the first collision, saying that people inside the van were desperately trying to escape. She specifically recalled helping a disoriented woman, believed to be Angie, get out of the vehicle. But just as she was assisting her, she felt something brush past her, followed by screams. Moments later, the massive truck hit the van.
After being blackballed and ostracized, I think she was starting to figure out that her home had been breached. 3 months later, she gone. And she died on her son's birthday.
It's so sad.
Her son, D'Angelo.
As I was coming through all of this, I soon found out that one of the biggest companies that I was with, Universal Music, it's the second part of the ugly truth. We began to research things to check on my royalties and my statements and things that of that nature, only to find out a lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen.
What's truly bizarre, though, is that this witness initially shared her account on social media, but quickly deleted it after discovering that Angie Stone was the person in the accident. That raises the question, was she threatened into silence? If this was just a tragic accident, why remove a simple, truthful account of what happened? Making this even more suspicious is the fact that different narratives have surfaced regarding what really happened. Some sources claim there was no second collision with an 18-wheeler, while others suggest that the accident itself may have been staged. The official report states that the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van overturned on the highway before being struck by a Freightliner truck. But people close to Angie believe there's more to the story. Before her passing, Angie had been fighting a battle behind the scenes. She had recently discovered that Universal Music Group had been allegedly stealing her royalties for decades. In a candid video, she detailed how she had been missing out on the money she rightfully earned from her music, and how she was preparing to take action to reclaim what was hers. "I'm just here to let you know one way or the other, Universal Music. You're going to have to give up my coins," Angie stated in the video. "Whatever is necessary to make sure they pay me for the legacy of my life, for my children and my grandchildren, I'm going to do it."
Here's the story. About 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, me and my daughter were driving to Charleston, South Carolina for her Sweet 16 birthday getaway. We came up to a truck with a trailer and its flashers were on, so we slowed down some, and that's when I noticed there was an overturned vehicle in the fast lane. And it looked like it just happened. I pulled over, I put my flashers on, and I told my daughter to stay in the car, and I ran over. It was a van, and I ran over, and there were so many people in this van, and they were just trying to get out. And I asked if they'd called the cops, and they said, "We're just trying to get out." And they were helping this woman out off the side of the van, and I grabbed her hand and I helped her get down, and she seemed out of it, and I was holding her hand and she was wobbling around, and I said, "Baby, you gotta sit down." And then the next thing I know, I flew and I fell down to the ground, and it felt like something not ran over me but brushed over me. Like something just swiped over my body, and I got up and I could hear screaming, and I just focused in on one screaming, and it was my daughter.
She explained that despite her decades-long career, she wasn't receiving her royalties. Universal Music had allegedly been collecting all of her payments without her knowledge, and she was gearing up for legal action. She even warned other artists about the predatory nature of the industry, calling out the big names who had sampled her music while she was left without compensation. The question now is, who's going to follow up on the money UMG allegedly owed her? With Angie gone, will her family be able to take on the fight? Or will the case simply disappear, just as many suspect UMG wanted? Jaguar Wright seems to think that Angie's death was anything but accidental. She pointed out how Angie had been robbed not too long ago, suggesting that someone might have been trying to intimidate her. What exactly was stolen from her home? And could it have been connected to the battle she was fighting against UMG? Jaguar also noted that Angie died on her son's birthday, which she found incredibly suspicious. According to her, the timing and the circumstances scream industry sacrifice. Whether or not you believe in these types of theories, the strange details surrounding Angie's passing certainly raise some eyebrows. The controversy surrounding Angie Stone's death isn't just about what happened on the highway. It has also reignited conversations about the way Black artists are treated in the music industry. Tyler Perry recently delivered a passionate eulogy at Angie's funeral, calling out the industry's exploitation of artists and demanding accountability. "I'm angry at the way she was treated," Perry said during his speech. "To think that this woman was in the business for all of these years and she wasn't receiving what she was owed. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong." He highlighted how Angie had dedicated her life to music, yet she was still struggling financially despite the massive impact she had on the industry. He even referenced her song $20, which speaks about financial hardship, pointing out that this was the reality for far too many Black artists. But while Perry's speech was met with applause, not everyone was impressed. Monique took to Instagram to call him out, pointing out the hypocrisy of his words. She reminded the world that Tyler Perry himself had blackballed her from Hollywood after she refused to do unpaid promotional work for Precious. "How can you condemn the poor treatment of others when you've imposed the same on me?" Monique wrote in a fiery post. "You asked where's the money she's owed. Well, where is my public apology that you promised in 2016? She went on to say that Perry's speech felt performative, considering how he had personally contributed to the blackballing of Black artists. She also brought up how he had asked her to work for free while making millions himself. Monique didn't hold back, calling Perry out for his failure to take responsibility for the harm he had done to her career. She concluded her message by reminding him of Mark 8:36. "What will it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul?" It's unclear if Tyler Perry will respond to Monique's call-out, but one thing is certain: Angie Stone's death has reopened discussions about the exploitation of Black artists, the dangers of speaking out against the industry, and the unsettling pattern of musicians dying under mysterious circumstances after trying to reclaim what's rightfully theirs. With all of these questions still unanswered, it's hard not to wonder, was Angie Stone's death truly an accident, or was it something far more sinister? Could she have been silenced to prevent her from exposing more industry secrets? And if so, who's next? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe Angie's death was just a tragic accident, or do you think there's more to the story? And don't forget to check out our other videos for more deep dives into the hidden truths of the industry.